What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new installment of Real Debates. This show was originally on Movies Are Terrible, but by some licensing deals and a lot of huge payouts, it is now here on Momentum Media, and we still have the same crew. It's going to be the same way, just going to be, I guess, edit differently, I guess, but it's still going to be the same type of feel just on my YouTube channel. And I couldn't have done this without my panelists, Jeremy and Ian. How are you guys doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm happy for multiple reasons. I'm happy that you came up with, or that we settled on a name together. I think Real Debates is solid. I'm happy that you're going to have some extra content that goes on your channel. And I'm extra happy that I don't have to edit it. So thank you very much for having me on. I feel good. I feel good about the deal. I feel like I got my money's worth out of it, that all parties are happy. And I'm just glad to be here to be moderating this week's debate.
Awesome. Yes, Jeremy is our moderator, and Ian is me, and I'm going to be going against Ian. But before we get into the match, Ian, how are you doing today?
I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, and I hate you all. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. You heard it here. He's mad, he's angry, he's pissed off. That sounds like a person who's about to lose. So. Now, I'm going to pass this off to Jeremy since he's our moderator. He's going to give us the rules and the regulations of how this is going to go down. By the way, this is X-Men First Class versus X-Men Days of Future Past, some movie that nobody saw. So, Jeremy, go ahead and take it away.
So, as you guys heard, the debate is best X-Men movie. They could have chosen from any movie with X-Men in the title, with the exception of, and why on earth would you pick it anyways? X-Men Origins was not up for grabs. So, of all of the X-Team movies, they chose their favorites. And as Alex just now said, he's going to be working with First Class. Ian's going to be working with Days of Future Past. Basically, I'm going to set it out in 4 different rounds, I believe. First, they're going to introduce their picks. They're going to let me know which one they chose and just basically why. Then they're going to go on to tell me what makes their film superior. They're going to tell me what makes their film great. And then they're going to tell me what makes their film superior to the other. Why is it better? We're going to close it up with a couple of final thoughts and conclusions at the end. Each round is going to be 2 minutes long each person's going to have 2 minutes to make their arguments. And I'm going to come up with some sort of arbitrary point system, pretend like that it actually has merit. And then I'm going to judge basically just according to, I don't know, who compliments me the best, who's got the better attitude today. So I'm automatically, just before we even started, I'm docking Ian 1 point. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Ian? Oh, I see you, man. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna start with Ian. Ian, please tell me your pick and why you chose it. You've got 2 minutes starting now.
Okay, I've chose X-Men Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men movie, not including Deadpool, not including Logan. His first stupid remark was, hey, nobody saw Days of Future Past. I did a quick Google search. Days of Future Past made $746 million.
It was a joke.
First Class, shut up. First Class made $353 million. So,
congratulations, you played yourself.
So,
ouch.
Obviously, people saw this movie. Jerk off blended in. It blended in the old cast and the new cast. I've never seen that ever in a movie before. I've never seen that was brilliant because I was on my way out of even caring about the X-Men franchise when that movie came out. First Class was dope, but it didn't bring in that fresh air that brought me down when it came to the Wolverine movie and X3 that were terrible. There was no hype, but the fact that the creative brought so much attention to both casts, the one that we knew and the new one, and just meshed the stories. That is brilliant creative writing, man. And it literally charged up the series for me and got me excited again. So that's why I love this movie so much. It told a great story, and I never in my life thought that would work. I've never name a movie that's ever worked. Avengers works because these characters are known and they have their own solo movies. But we've never seen like a reboot and an old movie just meshed together. So just the creative asset right there gets all the great points with me. And I love time travel movies. I love the fact that Hugh Jackman was at his best. Holy crap! It's a great movie. And X-Men First Class is a good introduction movie, but it's still contradicting to a lot of the old movies, so it's very confusing. As much as mine is when it comes to time travel, his is contradicting to the past movies. At least mine like resets time, so you can do that.
Time, right on time. Ian, excellent job at laying out why you chose it. Even better job, doubly good job of fact checking and just totally wrecking that whole thesis at the beginning there. That was beautifully done. Alex tried to slip some shit in before the time started, and you served him very nicely. That was a nice little.
That was dope. That was dope.
Alex,
I came for blood. I'm pissed off.
Alex, you've got plenty of time and plenty of an opportunity to let me know why First Class is your choice, and time starts now.
So First Class is my choices because this is the very first time where we actually get a rebooted version of the X-Men that we know and love. This first movie is the first beginning of Professor X, Magneto, and the original team. This takes place back in the early days where World War I or World War II is going on, and we actually get to see the character development between Professor X and Magneto. In a lot of ways, we get to see their backstory, like, Nazis were involved, how they grew up, death, stuff like that. We also get to see Professor X and Magneto be kindred spirits in this movie in comparison to other X-Men movies. In other X-Men movies, it's like they have an understanding, but they're fighting with one another. In this movie, they're actually working with one another, but they have political differences of how mutants should be treated. We ultimately see what happens to Professor X at the end of the movie, how he became into his chair, and how we know and love him. But this was a true origin story of the beginning of the X-Men. And I would like to point out, if it wasn't for First Class, there wouldn't be a Days in Future Past. Because First Class may not have made a lot of money at the box office, but it was critically good. And not only that, it warrants a sequel. Now, I love Days of Future Past, but if it wasn't for First Class, Days of Future Past wouldn't mean anything. In this particular movie, though, I have to say, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, man, he masked that role like to a point where I thought that they would never put Patrick Stewart back in this movie or back in the franchise because he would be the perfect standout as a new Professor X. Same with Michael Fassbender, dope Magneto. And as you see their characters progress in this movie, where we see Beast, where we see these different iterations of the X-Men combine one another and actually fight against one another, that was the amazing origin story.
Wow, that was also an incredible introduction into why you chose the movie you did. Seriously, both of you guys are very much speaking to me with not only your choices, but the reasons why. I can feel a personal connection to both of them. So really well done in the first round. I'm going to reserve reservations until the end. However, right now, you're both doing very, very well. I did start with Ian first last round, and even though Alex just now went, I want to give him an opportunity to lay out his reasons why it is a great film first. After this, we're going to discuss why each is a superior film and what makes it better than the other. This one, just tell me a little bit more. Specifically, I want to hear about storytelling. I want to hear about production. I want to hear about cast members. Any sort of specific details that really resonated with you that you remember about it. That's the kind of details I want to hear as why this is a great film. All right, starting with Alex in 3, 2, 1, and 2 minute starts.
So in this film, it kind of resonated with me because you actually get to see the hatred of mutants. In a lot of ways, I put it into real life circumstances. If you were a mutant in that movie, especially in those times, you were executed, you were experimented on, there were a lot of things that were happening to you that they showed in that movie. Not too vividly, but it was very alluded to in that movie. I look at what's going on in 2020. A lot of black people are kind of going through something like that right now. So in a lot of ways, it kind of resonated with me. Also, I love the family dynamic in this movie where they took people who were very different that they never met and they put them together and say, hey, we want to help you learn your abilities. And these are people that you don't know, and they're just growing with one another. And when someone dies, it really hurts them, even though they've met them for a day or 2 days. But that aspect of training, that aspect of learning their abilities together, we actually see Professor X out of all the X-Men films, very vulnerable, saying, although I have a great mind, I don't know how to handle a lot of these problems. And that is what resonated with me. They humanized these characters, especially these superior characters. Although, we say that Killmonger is the best villain in the MCU, which I agree with, Magneto had a lot of the same things that Killmonger was fighting for that you saw in this movie, that they're treating us differently. Why should we cower away? Why don't we use our powers to defend ourselves? And that, in a lot of ways, I agreed with him. So when there's that double dynamic of family, loss, having these, being hated for being different, I just felt that way because as a man, as a black man, as a creative, I was hated for being different. And in this movie, although it's not that diverse, they're being hated for the fact that they have powers and they were born that way.
Really good job selling me, man. That was an excellent argument that you came up with, and you did a really good job selling me on some of the thematic weight of it and a lot of the stuff that resonated with you. I think that was a really good job. Ian, you know the drill at this point. Same situation. I'm going to set a 2-minute timer, and you just let me know what makes Days of Future Past an amazing film. In 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
I will let you know. I'll tell you how this is a better film without mentioning my race and bringing it there. I'll just tell you about the film. All right. So I love this film because it's all about everybody is down on their luck. Everybody is at the worst of the worst. Have you ever seen Professor X on drugs? That is something new. That was freaking awesome. If you ever, he's the whole school that he just started up. All the kids are gone or arrested or whatever or killed. And there's mutants going to war. They're going to Vietnam. This is amazing. We've never seen anything like this in the X-Men movies, and it's something new and refreshing. But like I said, everybody in the future is down on their luck. Everybody in the past is at the worst that they could be at. Freaking Magneto's locked up for killing JFK. It's everybody is at the worst of the worst. And this is a story about trying to bring back people up. This is a story about forgiveness. This is a story about coming back as a team. And I love that. I love that dynamic. I've been down on my luck many a times. And we just needed forgiveness. We just needed a second chance of life. And I think Days of Future Past gave us a second chance. Especially, his movie was a reboot. This is a reboot of a reboot. So this is like a second, third chance for the series to do better. I love the blending of the characters. His movie showed that Michael Fassbender and the other guy, James McAvoy, were perfect replacements. I love their performances. Putting these guys in the same movies of their replacements showed that they were the perfect casting. And I just liked seeing Magneto and Professor X in the future, and then seeing them in the past, these are the same people. These people, the acting, it just showed, I really thought they were them from the past. I thought the acting was stellar, and I thought the story was great. Wolverine's just there for the ride. And we got one of the best superhero scenes of all time. Quicksilver running around whooping guards' asses. What scene is like that in X-Men freaking Last Stand? Sorry.
Good try there.
X-Men.
I knew what you were talking about.
Sorry.
First Class?
Sorry, yeah.
Look, I'm going to be honest.
Give me a scene like that in First Class.
I'm going to be honest. You freaking killed that round. When it comes to a movie and a subject like X-Men, I think it's very, very fair to bring up marginalization. I think it's very fair to bring up things like race and sexuality and all of that stuff. So I'm not taking points away for that. I think both of you did an awesome job. Ian, so many of the things that you said about second chances and blending the two casts, really strong arguments, man. That was a very good round. I feel like there was I don't know. We'll hold out until the end. All right, you've both talked a little bit about what makes your movie excellent, and you've both done really good jobs laying out points. At this point, though, now we're gonna get dirty, and we're gonna talk about why the other movie is inferior. So this is the part where you just kind of take apart the other movie, come up with as many reasons as you can as to why it's not really all that good. We started with Alex in the last round, so this round we're gonna start with Ian. Ian, 2 minutes. You ready?
I'm ready.
In 3, 2, 1.
I believe that X-Men First Class was the first movie that kind of showed that the series was not having the best timeline. It was very contradicting, and everybody knows it's a proven fact that it doesn't. The timeline makes no sense in the X-Men universe. It's not as good as like the MCU. But I think that one was the first one that everyone was like, what? Because when all this stuff is happening, and you hear these stories and you're watching it unfold, you're having flashbacks of the first 3 movies. You're like, what? That never happened. They never mentioned this or any stuff like that. And that's not the story that they gave us. So I think that was the first time we realized the contradicting story in this X-Men universe was from First Class. Also, it's kind of forgettable at times. It kind of pushed, they used Jennifer Lawrence as the face, which I love Jennifer Lawrence, and like I said, it's a good movie, but like, when was Mystique the face of the X-Men? This is all marketing. This whole movie was just marketing to push a sexual narrative for Jennifer Lawrence. You know, it's just weird, and I like the story. I like the Nazi stuff when it came to Magneto's character, but like, as a story goes, it's an okay introduction, but like I said earlier, it didn't really get my blood pumping and brought back life into my enthusiastic love for this franchise and X-Men. It was just like an okay movie after a bunch of terrible movies in front of it. And I like to echo my ending point at the last battle. Like, did your movie have a memorable moment like Quicksilver beating everybody's ass? I don't remember. What was your memorable moment? I don't. Stop it. I don't know. So that's why I feel like yours is inferior, and it just is, like I said, contradicting and kind of forgettable at times.
All right. We got just 5 seconds left. I think you made some really strong arguments there. Alex, I want you to put that in your back pocket. I want you to think about what he just now said, because this round is just all about you taking a couple blows at Days of Future Past. But I also want you to think in the back of your mind for the next round, because I'm going to have some clarifications. What is the standout moment from X-Men First Class? So before we do get to that, though, I'm going to give you a 3 count, and are you ready to do this?
Yes, I am.
In 3, 2, 1, and go.
So Ian said that they made Jennifer Lawrence the face of X-Men First Class. She was the face of Days of Future Past as well. She was the one who impersonated the main villain. She was the key to giving the secret of how to defeat all these different mutants. I mean, last time I checked, she had a little bit more screen time than our main characters in that movie. I would know because I watched the movie last night. Days of Future Past is a complete contradiction to all of the other movies as well. They're saying that they had to go back in time to fight the Sentinels 50 years ago. Why would they have to do that if they've already so-called done it? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's a walking contradiction. By the way, Magneto is in jail. Nobody explains how he got there, and he's a superpowered being. You mean to tell me humans put Magneto in jail, and the son that he doesn't know, he was in jail. He was locked up, and his son that he never met, just saves him. He was like, my mom said I knew a guy that had metal bending powers. And he just like literally writes him off in this whole movie. By the way, the Sentinels in that particular movie, they were all made by metal. Why do they need to go back in time? All they had to do was free Magneto to beat the Sentinels because they were made by metal. That's it. And my thing is that they had this mutant detector device to detect mutants. Mystique was camouflaged the whole time. No one knew she was there. So that whole technology that they had to help them fight mutants was some bullshit to begin with. I will say there are definitely more memorable moments in that movie because I do honestly think that's a better film. But if you want to talk about a reboot of a reboot, this movie wipes out everything that has happened from X-Men 1, 2, 3, and Origins. Everything. And then sets a new timeline.
That's it.
Oh my God, I got so much to say about that. But go on.
All right, that's it for that round. I had fun with that. Alex, I enjoyed that. That was pretty good. Half of the shit you said, I don't know necessarily if it checks out, but I enjoyed listening to it.
You said Magneto wasn't in jail. He was not locked up. He wasn't locked up.
All right, Ian, you're gonna have your chance, but we're gonna start with Alex. We're gonna start with Alex on this one. Alex, I asked you a moment ago, what is the standout moment from X-Men First Class? But you don't need to dedicate your time to that. But if it's something you thought about, I think that this is a great opportunity to rebut it. Also, any clarifications that you may need to drive the point home. If you had any holes in your argument earlier, if you want to address any of the things that Ian may have brought up, this is the place to do it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
In 3, 2, 1, start.
I guess the memorable moment for me is where Professor X is training Mystique, a younger version of Mystique. He's basically taking her in as, not necessarily as a daughter, but like a sister. But the defining moment that I really liked about First Class is that Magneto walks into the workout room where she's working out, and he basically challenges her, and he just flat out told her, "Why are you trying to be someone else? Be yourself. They're going to hate you regardless of what you look like. So use your power and be yourself." And for me, I think that was the standout for me because, like I stated before in the introduction, they were all being hunted because of the fact that they were different, and they had this power that they feel like they couldn't have controlled. As far as Days of Future Past, I have to say that yes, there are a lot of things that I love about that movie. There are a lot of things that I feel like are inconsistent about that movie. But at the same time, I have to say, I don't see why they needed to, in order to establish a new timeline or fix the future or whatever you want to call it, go back in time to fight an enemy that they could have basically done in First Class. I don't know why Days of Future Past had to be the direct sequel to merge the two original X-Men movies with the new version of the X-Men. Because last time I checked, the rebooted version of the X-Men was supposed to be our new modern day X-Men, not a continuation of what we had before. That's the whole point of a reboot. I guess they threw that out the way when they had Hugh Jackman in First Class saying "fuck off," so.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Charles Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
At the end of the day, I will say X-Men First Class is the best origin story of the original X-Men and how they became to be, how they were human, and how they treated each other, and how they dealt with a enemy.
All right, well said. That is a great moment that you mentioned, the Magneto line to Mystique when he's just kind of like, embrace who you are. I think that was a very strong character moment and probably dictated the direction that Mystique chose to go at the end of the movie, and it justified it really well. So great points there. Ian, same deal, man. This is an opportunity for you to kind of go and tidy up any of the holes that you may have had in your previous arguments. It'll give you a chance to rebut to all of that stuff that Alex just not said in the last 4 minutes, but you've got 2 minutes to do it. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. I will compliment Alex in saying I think that is the best moment in his fucking movie. That moment where he's like, "Hey, yo, just be yourself," and it's a memeable moment. So yeah, I agree that is his best moment. With that being said, holy crap! Oh, it's like you've never seen the movie or doesn't know how time travel works. Holy crap! Magneto has been to prison before. The first movie he was literally in prison. The second movie they're breaking him out again. He's in prison all the time, Alex. What are you watching?
But that's what I'm saying. That's the inconsistency.
Wait.
The purpose of X-Men Days of Future Past was to reset it because all the stuff before just didn't make any sense. So this was the reboot of the reboot. Like, the Wolverine story and all this stuff. It's not up. So like, let's give the fans what they want, but reboot it and then tell the story, which was after Days of Future Past. That story of the new timeline. This was a new timeline. That's why none of it makes sense because it's branched. It's like a multi-universe or whatever. And Wolverine's there for the ride because he doesn't age. So that's the moment of that. So I love that. I like this movie. I can't tell you how much. It's like one of my favorite X-Men movies, just with the X-Men title on there. And I thought it was a breath of fresh air. And I do like the new cast. But after X-Men Days of Future Past, I will say it did go downhill. They didn't know how to tell a good story after that. And I think your movie was a good introduction. But what that being said, though, I thought that my movie juggled a lot. And with this movie was the blueprint, I feel, for like the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, to juggling a big cast and meshing time together. So without my movie, you would have never got these iconic movies that we know and love. That's my time. It's Ian, baby.
All right. You got about 20 seconds left if you want to touch on anything.
Yes, I do. Alex, your head's big. And Jeremy, you are a very beautiful person.
All right. Thank you very much. That'll do it.
That should be. I did not insult Ian, so that should be a point taken off.
All right, so this is the end of the actual debate. Both of the competitors, or debaters, have weighed in. They've both presented pretty strong arguments as far as I'm concerned. In the first round, where you guys were just kind of laying out why you each picked the film, I feel like I got a little bit more out of Ian in that particular round. In the second round, on the other hand, no. Excuse me, let me start that again. So, in the beginning of the game, in the first round, Alex, I think, laid out some of the important, heavy theme elements of the X-Men franchise. He did it in a way, I think, that resonated with him on a personal level and would resonate with any viewer that feels like maybe they're part of a marginalized group. I think that's the core of the X-Men movies. That said, it's not really exclusive to First Class. I mean, all of the X-Men movies deal with that. However, you laid it out. You did an excellent job at articulating it. And so for round one, I got to go with you. Round two, when we start to get into the specifics of why the movies are superior. Alex, again, you hit on several of the themes and how it spoke to you. Ian, I think, just more broadly laid out several different reasons as far as meshing the two casts, as far as having this Herculean task of reestablishing some sort of timeline that makes sense. I didn't necessarily notice a whole lot of contradictions in First Class from the other trilogy, but it's separated enough that it doesn't really matter. That said, I think, Ian, you sold me on what makes it a great film. Going into the third round, I was still very back and forth. And in this round, it was, whose movie, or which is the worst of the two movies. Alex, man, I really enjoyed a lot of your takes on that. I thought it was funny. I thought it was fun to listen to. And I think you came out really strong in that argument by just hitting it with personal reasons over and over and over. You got more reasons per minute in than Ian did. And I think that was very impressive. Now then, coming into round four, where you guys wrapped it up, Ian touched on how it was a blending of these two worlds again, how it was the template for movies like Endgame and Infinity War, and whether it is or not, it was the first time we saw it successfully pulled off to this scale. I thought that was a really excellent point that you made there. Alex, you also made some really good points when you asked about when Ian said, what's the memorable moment compared to the Quicksilver scene? For me, I was hoping you would go Magneto in the Argentinian bar with that shit is dope. Yep. There's a couple of scenes in it that are very standout. Ian, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't call out the Darwin situation. The mutant that can evolve into anything eats a glowing ball and kills the only black X-Men in the entire movie.
You know what's so crazy? I thought about that, but I did not remember his name, so I just scrapped it. But I do. Everybody talks about that scene, how ridiculous it is.
Yes, and I don't know Darwin from the comics, so I didn't have the sentimental connection to him that a lot of people do. He's newer than my generation of comic books. All of that said, to say, dude, this was a very, very close match. I'm giving it to Ian by just a margin. I think you both did a fantastic job, but I think...
Get the fuck out of here.
And now the winner is Alex. Both of you did a really, really good job. Ian, the fact check at the beginning helped you out tremendously as well. That was strong.
I should not do that ever again.
Yeah, maybe we should go with facts from now on.
Or just wait. Yeah. Just wait.
That was a joke. Like, I wasn't being serious when I said that.
I had no idea. And I think that the consensus is that Days of Future Past is the superior movie. I actually just watched them both within the past couple of weeks. And while I tend to agree with the consensus, Days of Future Past is probably a better movie, the Magneto and Professor X stuff in First Class is just so phenomenal that I have a definite soft spot for that. Alex, every time you were talking about Magneto, you were just magnetizing me, pulling me closer and closer to your side of the argument. So if you would have just hit like 2 or 3 more Magneto points, man, we would have been in there. But anyways,
Magneto's like my favorite like villain of all time, and I think Michael Fassbender better than Ian McKellen. I think it was a better introduction in First Class.
Another point that I did want to make is, Alex, you bringing up the Magneto and Killmonger comparison, dude. What a great point. Never even thought about that before. That is a solid comparison. You know, different struggle, same kind of ideology. I love Magneto as a character. So all that said, really well done. Ian is this week's winner, so give it up.
Check out Days of Future Past, the director's cut. It's even better. You see more Magneto in Days of Future Past in the director's cut. I think it's a better movie than the original.
Never seen it myself, so I definitely do plan to check that out. Alex, I am so excited to see this series continue on Momentum Media. Be sure that when this gets uploaded, I'm going to post a link in the community tab. I'm going to plaster it on the Discord because I feel like this is a series that I believe in, and I want to see it continue to grow and evolve and thrive, and maybe we can bring on guests in the future. If you guys have any comments or suggestions or anything like that you'd like to see, let us know down in the comment section. At this point, though, I am going to turn the conversation back over to Alex to see us out of here.
And I want to thank you guys for being on the show. Ian did an amazing job. I'm not going to lie. I did feel like I was losing towards the last round, so I have to give it to Ian. Ian did an amazing job. Jeremy did an amazing job as well hosting, but I got a special announcement for you guys. So since I lost, next week Ian will be hosting and I will be going against Jeremy, and we're going to pick our topics, whether it's a movie, TV show, or, characters amongst characters, and we're going to duke it out. I'm going to try to have this out by Friday, try to make this a every Friday thing, and we're going to just continue it and share it amongst each other. I want to thank you guys for being on the show because this would not be possible without you guys. This is an amazing format, and I'm glad we were able to come up with a name and do an amazing debate show like this, like we do. So I want to thank you guys sincerely. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man, you're a worthy opponent, man. Seriously. I had to mentally get angry at the beginning, so I was like, I'm going to tear him apart, But, I had to do that when you're a worthy opponent. And I couldn't get cocky.
And I would like to point out, the record for right now is 1v1. Okay? Ian beat me, I beat him. So whenever we get a chance to fight again, there will be carnage. That's all I'm going to say. So at the end of the day, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates every time we're releasing a video here on Momentum Media. Ian, our competitor and our winner, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can find me at Twitter at @I_controversy or Instagram _controversy. But check my YouTube stuff out. I'm not really an angry person in real life. Check me out on YouTube. Check out my videos and Let's have more nerdy discussions.
Awesome, awesome. And Jeremy, where can we find you on YouTube and social media?
Check out Movies Are Terrible on YouTube. If you want to check me out on Twitter, it's Jeremy B. Terrible. Yeah, dude, it was fun. I really, really enjoyed doing this show, so I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I had an amazing time. So stay tuned, you guys. This Friday, this episode will come out, and next week I'll be going against Movies Are Terrible, and right here on Momentum Media. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. And as always, you have a blessed day.